The Bhagavad Gita, Gita Press, 38th reprint, 2007. Chapter 18. Arjuna said, O mighty armed Sri Krishna, O inner controller of all, O slayer of Kesi, I wish to know severally the truth of Samanyasa and also of tyaga. Sri Bhagavan said, some sages understand Samanyasa as the giving up of all actions motivated by desire, and the wise declare that tyaga consists in relinquishing the fruit of all actions. Some wise men declare that all actions contain a measure of evil and are therefore worth giving up, while others say that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be shunned. Of Samanyasa and tyaga, first hear my conclusion on the subject of renunciation, tyaga. Arjuna, for renunciation, O tiger among men, has been declared to be of three kinds: sattvika, rajasica, and tamasica. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not worth giving up. They must be performed. For sacrifice, charity, and penance, all these are purifiers to the wise men. Hence, these acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance, and all other acts of duty too, must be performed without attachment and expectation of reward. This is my well-considered and supreme verdict, Arjuna. Prohibited acts and those that are motivated by desire should no doubt be given up. But it is not advisable to abandon a prescribed duty. Such abandonment through ignorance has been declared as tamasika. Should anyone give up his duties for fear of physical strain, thinking that all actions are verily painful, practicing such rajasic form of renunciation, he does not reap the fruit of renunciation. A prescribed duty which is performed simply because it has to be performed, giving up attachment and fruit, that alone has been recognized as the sattvic form of renunciation. He who has neither aversion for action, which is leading to bondage, nor attachment to that which is conducive to blessedness, imbued with the quality of goodness, he has all his doubts resolved, is intelligent, and a man of true renunciation. Since all actions cannot be given up in their entirety by anyone possessing a body, he alone who renounces the fruit of actions is called a man of renunciation. Agreeable, disagreeable, and mixed, threefold indeed, is the fruit that accrues after death from the actions of the unrenouncing. But there is none whatsoever for those who have renounced. In the branch of learning known as Sankhya, which prescribes means for neutralizing all actions, the 5 factors have been mentioned as contributory to the accomplishment of all actions. Know them from me, Arjuna. The following are the factors operating towards the accomplishment of actions, vis-a-vis the body and the doer, the organs of different kinds and the different functions of manifold kinds. And the 5th is daiva, or prarabdha karma, destiny. These 5 are the contributory causes of whatever actions, right or wrong, man performs with the mind, speech, and body. Notwithstanding this, however, he who, having an impure mind, regards the absolute, taintless self alone as the doer, that man of perverse understanding does not view aright. He whose mind is free from the sense of doership, and whose reason is not affected by worldly objects and activities, does not really kill, even having killed all these people, nor does any sin accrue to him. The knower, knowledge, and the object of knowledge, these 3 motivate action. Even so, the doer, the organs and activity, these are the 3 constituents of action. In the branch of knowledge, dealing with the gunas or modes of prakriti, knowledge and action, as well as the doer, have been declared to be of 3 kinds, according to the guna which predominates in each. Hear them too duly from me. That by which man perceives one imperishable divine existence as undivided and equally present in all individual beings, know that knowledge to be sattvika. The knowledge by which man cognizes many existences of various kinds as apart from one another in all beings, know that knowledge to be rajasika. Again, that knowledge which clings to one body as if it were the whole, and which is irrational, has no real grasp of truth, and is trivial, has been declared as tamasika. That action which is ordained by the scriptures and is not accompanied by the sense of doership, and has been done without any attachment or aversion by one who seeks no return, is called sattvika. That action, however, which involves much strain and is performed by one who seeks enjoyments or by a man full of egotism, has been spoken of as rajasika. That action which is undertaken through sheer ignorance, without regard to consequences or loss to oneself, injury to others, and one's own resourcefulness, is declared as tamasika. Free from attachment, unegoistic, endowed with firmness and zeal, and unswayed by success and failure, such a doer is said to be sattvika. The doer who is full of attachment, seeks the fruit of actions and is greedy, and who is oppressive by nature and of impure conduct, and is affected by joy and sorrow, has been called rajasika. Lacking piety and self-control, uncultured, arrogant, deceitful, inclined to rob others of their livelihood, slothful, dependent, and procrastinating, such a doer is called tamasika. Now here, Arjuna, the threefold division based on the predominance of each guna of understanding and firmness, which I shall explain in detail one by one. The intellect which correctly determines the paths of activity and renunciation, what ought to be done and what should not be done, what is fear and what is fearlessness, and what is bondage and what is liberation, that intellect is sattvika. The intellect by which man does not truly perceive what is dharma and what is adharma, what ought to be done and what should not be done, that intellect is rajasika. The intellect which imagines even adharma to be dharma and sees all other things upside down, wrapped in ignorance, that intellect is tamasika, Arjuna. The unwavering firmness by which man controls through the yoga of meditation the functions of the mind, the vital airs, and the senses, that firmness, Arjuna, is sattvika. The firmness, however, by which the man seeking reward for his actions clutches with extreme fondness, virtues, earthly possessions, and worldly enjoyments, that firmness is said to be rajasika, Arjuna. The firmness by which an evil-minded person does not give up sleep, fear, anxiety, sorrow, and vanity as well, that firmness is tamasika. Now hear from me the threefold joy, too, that in which the striver finds enjoyment through practice of adoration, meditation, and service to God, etc., and whereby he reaches the end of sorrow. Such a joy, though appearing as poison in the beginning, tastes like nectar in the end. Hence, that joy, born as it is of the placidity of mind, brought about by meditation on God, has been declared as sattvika. The delight which follows from the contact of the senses with their objects is eventually poison-like, though appearing at first as nectar. Hence it has been spoken of as rajasika. That which stupefies the self during its enjoyment as well as in the end, derived from sleep, indolence, and obstinate error, such delight has been called tamasika. There is no being on earth, or even among the gods in heaven, or anywhere else, who is free from these three gunas, born of Prakriti. The duties of the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaisyas, as well as of the Sudras, have been assigned according to their inborn qualities, Arjuna. Subjugation of the mind and senses, enduring hardships for the discharge of one's sacred obligations, eternal and internal purity, forgiving the faults of others, straightness of mind, senses and behavior, belief in the Vedas and other scriptures, God and life after death, etc., study and teaching of the Vedas and other scriptures, and realization of the truth relating to God. All these constitute the natural duties of a Brahmin. Heroism, majesty, firmness, diligence, and dauntlessness in battle, bestowing gifts and lordliness, all these constitute the natural duty of a Kshatriya. Agriculture, rearing of cows, and honest exchange of merchandise, these constitute the natural duty of a Vaisya, a member of the trading class. And service of the other classes is the natural duty even of a Shudra, a member of the laboring class. Keenly devoted to his own natural duty, man attains the highest perfection in the shape of God realization. Here the mode of performance whereby the man engaged in his inborn duty reaches that highest consummation. By worshiping him from whom all beings come into being, and by whom the whole universe is pervaded, through the performance of his own natural duties, man attains the highest perfection. Better is one's own duty, though devoid of merit, than the duty of another well performed. For performing the duty ordained by his own nature, man does not incur sin. Therefore, Arjuna, one should not relinquish one's innate duty, even though it has a measure of evil, for all undertakings are beset by some evil, as is the fire covered by smoke. He whose intellect is unattached everywhere, whose thirst for enjoyment has altogether disappeared, and who has subdued his mind, reaches through Sankhya Yoga, the path of knowledge, the consummation of actionless. Arjuna, know from me only briefly the process through which man, having attained actionless, which is the highest consummation of Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, reaches Brahma. Endowed with a pure intellect and partaking of a light, sattvika, and regulated diet, living in a lonely and undefiled place, having rejected sound and other objects of sense, having controlled the mind, speech, and body by restraining the mind and senses through firmness of a sattvika type, taking a resolute stand on dispassion, and having completely got rid of attraction and aversion, and remaining ever devoted to the yoga of meditation, having given up egotism, violence, arrogance, lust, anger, and luxuries, devoid of the feeling of mume and tranquil of heart, such a man becomes qualified for oneness with Brahma, who is truth, consciousness, and bliss. Established in identity with Brahma, who is truth, consciousness, and bliss solidified, and cheerful in mind, the Sankhya yogi no longer grieves nor craves for anything. The same to all beings, such a yogi attains supreme devotion to me. Through that supreme devotion, he who comes to know me in reality, what and who I am, and thereby knowing me truly, he forthwith merges into my being. The karma yogi, however, who depends on me, attains my grace, the eternal, imperishable state, even though performing all actions. Mentally dedicating all your actions to me and taking recourse to yoga in the form of even-mindedness, be solely devoted to me and constantly fix your mind on me. With your mind thus devoted to me, you shall by my grace overcome all difficulties. But if from self-conceit you do not care to listen to me, you will be lost. If, taking your stand on egotism, you think, I will not fight, vain is this resolve of yours. Nature will drive you to the act. That action, too, which you are not willing to undertake through ignorance, you will perforce perform, bound by your own duty, born of your nature. Arjuna, God abides in the heart of all creatures, causing them to revolve according to their karma by his elusive power, Maya, as though mounted on a machine. Take refuge in him alone with all your being, Arjuna. By his mere glance you will attain supreme peace and the eternal abode. Thus has this wisdom, more profound than all profundities, been imparted to you by me, deeply pondering over it. Now do as you like. Hear again my supremely profound words, the most esoteric of all truths, as you are extremely dear to me. Therefore I shall give you this salutary advice for your own good. Give your mind to me, be devoted to me, worship me and bow to me. Doing so, you will come to me alone. I truly promise you, for you are exceptionally dear to me. Resigning all your duties to me, the all-powerful and all-supporting Lord, Take refuge in me alone. I shall absolve you of all sins. Worry not. This secret gospel of the Gita should never be imparted to a man who lacks in austerity, nor to him who is wanting in devotion, nor even to him who is not willing to hear, and in no case to him who finds fault with me. He who, offering the highest love to me, preaches the most profound gospel of the Gita among my devotees shall come to me alone. There is no doubt about it. Among men there is none who does me a more loving service than he, nor shall anyone be dearer to me on the entire globe than he. Whosoever studies this sacred dialogue of ours in the form of the Gita, by him too shall I be worshipped with yajna of knowledge. Such is my conviction. The man who listens to the holy Gita with reverence, being free from malice, he too, liberated from sin, shall reach the propitious worlds of pious and the virtuous. Have you, O Arjuna, heard this gospel of the Gita attentively? And has your delusion born of ignorance been destroyed, O Dhananjaya, conqueror of riches? Arjuna said, Krishna, by your grace my delusion has been destroyed, and I have gained wisdom. I am free of all doubt. I shall do your bidding. Sanjaya said, Thus I heard the mysterious and thrilling conversation between Sri Krishna and the high-souled Arjuna, the son of Kunti. Having been blessed with the divine vision by the grace of Sri Vyasa, I heard in person this supremely esoteric gospel from the Lord of Yoga, Sri Krishna himself, imparting it to Arjuna. Remembering over and over that sacred and mystic conversation between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Arjuna, O King, I rejoice again and yet again. Remembering also again and again that most wonderful form of Sri Krishna, great is my wonder, and I rejoice over and over again. Wherever there is Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, and wherever there is Arjuna, the wielder of the Gandhava bow, goodness, victory, glory, and unfailing righteousness will surely be there. Such is my conviction. Thus, in the Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of Yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 18th chapter entitled The Yoga of Liberation Through the Path of Knowledge and Self-Surrender. Om.